Hello and welcome to this session where you will learn about the most recent releases of DELMIA Apriso as well as some of the initiatives that we are working on this year. The agenda for this session is organized around three topics: the overall strategic directions of DELMIA Apriso developments, the content of most recent releases, and a quick sneak peek into our plans for this year's release of DELMIA Apriso 2021. Let's start with putting some context around DELMIA Apriso portfolio evolution, where our MOM capabilities are part of the overall vision of virtual twin experience for manufacturing operations. The vision spans across various manufacturing domains, starting with the engineering design of products, processes, and resources, planning and optimization of the production plan, and then the execution plus monitoring, where all the data is collected on the shop floor to enable learning, virtual twin simulations, and finally closing the loop with improvement proposals to the engineering. Being part of the MOM execution domain, DELMIA Apriso evolves based on three strategic pillars: prepackaged roles and apps, where we continue development of the out-of-the-box manufacturing applications; infrastructure improvements, where we invest in the core Apriso frameworks that allow building the end-user solutions; and 3D experience data integration, which enables this entire value chain behind the virtual twin experience. From the release timeline perspective, the last major release was DELMIA Apriso 2020, made publicly available in October 2019. Moving forward, we will keep the yearly release cadence, so DELMIA Apriso 2020 will be followed by the release of DELMIA Apriso 2021 in October this year. But also we do work on additional service packs for the already released versions. And this year we have a plan to release two of them for DELMIA Apriso 2020. Service packs oftentimes include functional enhancements that end up being part of the following main release. That's why, when talking about the new functionalities, there will be an indication about the service pack in which the given capability has been made available. In summary, last year we have introduced three new capabilities that we have also made available in service packs on top of DELMIA Apriso 2019. These are OSI soft integration, notices, and 3D work instructions connected mode. Then we had additional 4 groups of enhancements in the main DELMIA Apriso 2020 release, plus 2 more enhancements in Apriso 2020 Service Pack 1 that was made available earlier this year. So now, let's take a look into the details of these enhancements. The first capability introduced last year was the support for OSI soft PI system integration. This was done following our partnership with OSI Soft and growing demand for machine integration capabilities. So we now have a machine integrator data source for the PI system with the subscription mechanism and read-write capability. This also includes dedicated configuration screens and GPM support for configuration of MI connector. What is important here is the fact that this new MI data source is dedicated to the event-based communication scenarios, where PI system serves as an intermediate layer between Apriso and the machines on the shop floor. Another enhancement in the Apriso 2019 Service Pack 1 was the notice management capability. The main driver for this was the European Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR. But we have built those capabilities in a way that they can be used in a broader scope of applications. In essence, it is now possible to display one or more pieces of information during login to our system and track the acknowledgements from the user. It includes the configuration screens as well as monitoring of the acknowledgements. Beside that, the user can view their personal data, and also it is possible to clear the personal data related to the employee. In Service Pack 2 for DELMIA Apriso 2019, we have provided the connected mode for 3D work instructions, which allows for direct access to the 3D geometry from the rendering UI control. So the main difference in this mode is that it is no longer needed to generate 3D XML package and push it to Apriso from the 3D Experience platform. The data can be read directly from the 3D Experience platform, which simplifies the synchronization process of 3D geometry between the platform and Apriso. Now let's move to the main DELMIA Apriso 2020 release, where we have continued our investments in the prepackaged roles for complex assembly and warehouse operations. For complex assembly, based on our past observations, we wanted to provide more configurability in both roles. This is mainly to have more flexibility in adapting the business logic and user interface in case of more complex environments with specific processes in place. So new options have been introduced in two main applications: production monitoring cockpit and execution cockpit. In PMC, the production monitoring cockpit, there is more flexibility in layout configuration as well as screen actions processing. And in execution cockpit, there are now more options for organizing the individual activity steps when it comes to both the layout and content. This way, they can be more convenient for operators to use based on the nature of their daily work. In the same release, we have also enhanced the warehouse roles capabilities in order to cover a broader scope of warehouse activities. So we now provide an enhanced receiving cockpit and mobile app for receiving operations based on both ASN and purchase order. For warehouse supervisors, we have a new inventory lookup screen for inventory monitoring. We have also added new shipping apps for supervisors and operators, covering the key shipping activities like picking, kitting, staging at the gate, and loading. And last but not least, it is now possible to manage the prefix definitions for parsing the barcodes that are scanned by the operators in the mobile app. In the area of distributed numerical control that was introduced in previous release, we have added new DNC cockpit features for better visibility and control over the NC files. This includes role-based security and better tracking of the NC files' usage and manipulation. There are also new ways of transferring the files between the source and the actual machine over HTTP. Plus, the transfer process can now be customized with standard operations. The next enhancement was introduced in the area of manufacturing data analysis. The machine time analysis cockpit has been significantly updated with the brand new user experience for machine state monitoring and analysis. There are three key features that are important here. We have added a new KPI panel that now can present the OE KPI together with its key elements: quality, performance, and availability. The second one is the fact that MTA can now work also on top of operational database, not only the MPI data warehouse. This enables a much wider spectrum of usages of the new cockpit. The third feature is the set of incorporated dashboards that can be accessed from the MTA screen. They offer additional detailed information and charts that give even more insights into machine events. And these dashboards are built with Dashboard Builder module, which means that they can be easily extended. One of the important topics we have worked on early this year were the extensions to the data integration between DELMIA Apriso and DELMIA Digital Manufacturing. Specifically, in the area of process plan exchange, the first service pack for DELMIA Apriso 2020 included the extended support for additional objects linked to the process plan. These objects are alerts, sign-offs, and data collect plans, which can be added by the manufacturing engineer when designing the manufacturing process, so that additional information can be displayed to the operators during the execution, but also they define what type of information should be collected by the operator on the shop floor. When defining a data collect plan, the manufacturing engineer can specify not only the number of measures, tolerance levels, or the possible values to enter, but also formulas that will be used to calculate the final result of measurement. So to ensure these specifications are executable, we made sure that these objects can now be downloaded to DELMIA Apriso with the process plan definition, and then be properly attached and tracked against the specific work order based on this process plan. With every major release of DELMIA Apriso, we also update the list of supported versions of operating systems, database systems, and browsers. And for DELMIA Apriso 2020, the most updates were made in the area of old mobile client operating systems and desktop client operating systems, where we dropped the support for the older versions. On the other hand, we followed the introduction of new Windows Server 2019 and new Oracle database systems, which are now supported by this recent release of DELMIA Apriso. Okay, with that, to summarize, the new DELMIA Apriso 2020 release, together with the Service Pack 1 that followed, was built around three main topics: the continued investment in prepackaged roles and apps, with the focus on configurability and expanded functionality, new machine time analysis, now available not only on top of the MPI data warehouse, but also the Apriso operational database, plus the new OEE calculation capabilities now also included. And last but not least, we continued the investment in the alignment with DELMIA Digital Manufacturing Process Definition. Now, as promised at the beginning, let's take a quick look into some of the areas that we are working on this year. And these are mainly the enhancements to be included in DELMIA Apriso 2021 release, or one of the service packs that will follow this next release. In the prepackaged roles and apps domain, we will be significantly enhancing both sets of roles for complex assembly and warehouse management. In complex assembly, we are going to enable execution and tracking of production orders where quantity to be produced is greater than one serialized item. This capability requires changes to interfaces, user experience for supervisors and operators, as well as business logic changes to handle all scenarios for individual part production tracking. Also, we are rebuilding the standard electronic manufacturing record (EMR) report to be able to generate full traceability report per individual serialized part produced. For the warehouse management roles, we will be adding new capabilities for cycle counting and physical inventory count to expand the functional coverage of the warehousing out-of-the-box solution. This new wave of functions will include things such as dispatching of counting tasks, counting execution functions for mobile devices, monitoring screens, as well as reconciliation functionality. There will also be a number of updates to the Apriso core components that we plan for the upcoming releases. Some of them are related to our BPM environment, Process Builder, where we keep expanding the way in which individual solution components can be managed as one solution. This is done by the new project entity that we introduced in one of the recent releases, and which provides a better control over solution assets and their deployment. We also are going to introduce a support for complex data types that will simplify the data exchange between Apriso core components, positively impacting performance and ease of configuration. We also keep investing in communication based on REST web services, putting great emphasis on security features, such as mutual authentication based on certificates. On the machine integration side, we will provide an updated support for OPC UA standard specification, which will keep the communication with machines secure and even more robust, and compatible with wide range of OPC servers. Yet another area being enhanced is the reporting engine of DELMIA Apriso, with the new Report Builder module providing a new native way of efficient report design and management. With the new Report Builder, there will no longer be a need for any third-party reporting tools for the shop floor reports generation. And yet again, on the technology support side, we plan to make certain updates keeping up with the latest releases of operating systems and browsers. So we will be introducing the support for the SQL Server 2019 while dropping support for SQL Server 2016. Also, Oracle 18c will no longer be supported. And following the new browser introduction, we are going to start supporting Microsoft Edge browser based on Chromium. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I hope this session gave you some useful information. Thank you.